Hey Fiber friends, it's Michelle back again for episode 3 of Stashdown. Very excited to be here today for episode 3 and to say that I am up to 10 subscribers, so I'm at double digits. Yay. That actually makes me feel pretty good because I know that at least 2 people are not friends of mine, people that I don't know that just have listened, so you know who you are, and thank you for subscribing and for tuning in. So what I'm thinking about doing, I'm excited to get going on like a Stashdown along of one kind or another that I've talked about before. But like I said, still working on this testnet. Got a couple more weeks left of that, and then I'm actually dying to get back to some other stuff. Plus, Tour de Fleece is starting very, very soon, and I want to actually get going on that later today and just start with spinning every day, and so that I can finish this year. Like a lot of times I start Tour de Fleece and I'm strong in the beginning of July, right around the beginning of it on the 5th, and then just for a few days, and then I maybe don't do it for one day, and then I don't spin every day, and I try to carry it. My goal is actually just keep going into July because I have a spinning project that I really want to finish. So yeah, I'm ready to be done with this testnet. But what I think what I'm thinking of doing is starting a separate Instagram account just for Stashdown, because I think that would be the best place for people. Once there are enough people that are doing this and we can get one going where it's not just a couple people, that'll be a good place for people to post and tag for progress and things like that. And I'm kind of hoping that maybe if the algorithm works this way, which I hope it does, like if I just kind of keep that my place just for all the knitting things instead of all the other stuff that pops up on my regular Instagram, it'd maybe be like a little haven of that kind of thing, with maybe I would be okay with like videos of Valley Black Nose bobbing around in a field and things like that, but just kind of keeping it separate from my other Instagram. And the thought of doing keeping track of 2 Instagrams isn't super thrilling because I feel like I already spend way too much time doom scrolling. But I'm thinking about that. So if that happens, I'll let everybody know right away. But I think that's a good place, for us to do some, keep track of the whip-alongs and things like that. That hopefully will be coming up once we get good traction and enough people that are interested in doing that. So anyway, without further ado, I actually have meat and potatoes on the docket for today to talk about. Sorry for the weird angle. I have an extra seat here next to me because I'm going to have my first guest chatter. My daughter Emma. I wanted to bring her on here and show off her cross stitch that I've been bragging about, and I kind of want to get her take because I feel like some of the stuff we talk about with stashing and why we do that and stuff can translate into that behavior in other places, and other hobbies and pastimes and things like that. And so even though I know she doesn't have like a humongoid stash, it's a pretty respectable stash of her floss. She doesn't quite have the problem that I do with with my my vices and stuff, but just kind of wanted to get her take on things that in her life with her interests and things would relate to the stuff that we talk about, like, and I have another area similar to what we've talked about already with vices and stuff, just to kind of get everybody's thoughts on, hopefully generate some comments and thoughts and generate a conversation about that. So this is my daughter Emma. Without further ado. Hello,
I'm Emma. I don't remember how long I've been cross-stitching. I probably should have figured that out before I came on camera, but I've been cross-stitching for a while, like pre-COVID I started. Actually, you took me to like a girls, like, it was like a feminism or like women's rights, like craft night or something.
Oh yeah.
And we were doing like, I probably have it in my bag, which I'll show in a second, but it was like all like feminism related like patterns and stuff. And that's where I learned. And I learned like that night, like they explained it to me like word of mouth basically, or like oral tradition, like teaching me how to cross stitch. And then I don't know if I finished one that night, but I was like cruising. I immediately like fell in love with it.
That didn't happen when I tried to teach her to knit.
I've knit one scarf.
As a note,
I knit one scarf and I like have the yarn to knit a sweater, but I never started it. One day I will get to that.
You have the yarn to knit a sweater?
Yeah, you got me some purple yarn.
Oh, I was gonna knit you that sweater.
No, I thought you gave me some. Well, you gave me some yarn. I
think that yarn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And it's somewhere in my apartment, and someday I'll do it. But I really like cross stitching. Like something about the like repetitive nature and like the counting and the patterns, like which is the exact same as knitting. I realized that, but I don't know, something about cross stitching. I like how you can like.
She's gonna be a stranded color work knitter.
I think I would be, because like I like being able to like turn pictures into a cross stitch, you know, like
cabling and counted cross stitch. What
I
did I just say?
Yeah,
stranded color work and cable work. I think you're probably gonna get into that.
I think I would if I was to get better at knitting, because like I like there's a lot of stuff you can do with cross stitching where you don't need to even buy a pattern. Like you can just, there's websites where you can put in a picture and it'll make one for you, or like you can kind of just like paste together various like stuff that's already like pixel. Like I like to do a lot of like video game related stuff because it's already like pixelized and I can just kind of follow that. But yeah, I can show my project. So this is the project my mom was talking about. No one's gonna be interested in me at all
once you got this up here. They're just gonna be like, can she talk?
Or not yesterday, the last episode.
We want to hear about this.
So this is my Pokemon cross stitch. It's pretty big so far. If you can believe it, I'm not even halfway done.
Out of the yeah. Stick it up there and just hold it there and talk.
This is a horrible angle, but so yeah, so this is gonna be, well, I'll show you how big it's gonna be. It's gonna be this big. It's going to be all 150 Gen 1 Pokemon. I found this pattern, like someone on TikTok posted that they had finished it, and immediately I was like, I really want to try that, because I have been cross stitching for a couple of years and I really liked all the colors.
Hold it back up there close again so everyone can see that.
And I said like I said before, I kind of like doing like the video game related stuff. So yeah, I'm not even halfway, and I have been working on this for almost 5 years now. I started it. I started it in December of 2020.
Oh my god.
So, and I've taken obviously a lot of breaks. I feel like I would be a lot farther on it if I consistently worked on it, but
this is my new favorite guy right here that you just did.
Yeah, so I just finished Tentacruel last night. He's like, if you don't play Pokemon, I don't know why it's focusing on my face. There you go.
There.
If you don't play Pokemon, he's kind of like a poisonous, like jellyfish character.
He looks like that.
You can't see his tentacles.
He would mess you up.
Yeah, he's
I also
pretty cool.
like these guys.
Yeah, that's. Oh jeez. Okay, so my next.
He's very like Studio Ghibli to me.
Okay, yeah, I can
Doesn't
see
he kind of look like he'd be like?
And now it's
my neighbor Totoro.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I don't even. I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be cool.
My other top.
Is it Ghibli or Ghibli?
I think it's Ghibli.
Of course it is.
I think it's Ghibli.
It is GIF though.
That's true. But anyway, my other topic I wanted to say while I'm on camera here is that like, I actually don't play that much Pokemon, which is kind of funny because like, I've
You must be really into Pokemon.
No, seriously, people, like, she said a little bit about this in the last episode, but people like flock to me when I'm working on this just because it's so like big and colorful.
This is not bravado. This is the truth.
It's true. Like, I'm not trying to brag. Like, literally, like everyone will walk up to me like when I'm working on it in a cafe or something.
But I mean, you just saw it, so who wouldn't?
It's eye catching.
I would be like,
it's eye catching.
I would do that too if somebody walked.
Me too. But like
of any genre, like anything, if it was like that amazing, I would just be like, oh my god.
It's been really fun to work on. I really like it. I like how colorful it is. But yeah, people will come up to me and they'll be like super fans of Pokemon, and they'll be like, oh, I can see it's in like numerical order of their like Pokédex number, and I'm like, oh, okay. Right, yeah,
Right,
yeah, that's true. I mean, like some of them I had to look up what they're called. Like I don't play much Pokemon, and I don't.
This one's.
I don't. That's this one.
No, the thing that looks like a big
Oh, that's
dragonfly or something.
Yeah. Again, couldn't tell you what that one's called, but
dragonfly-looking Pokemon thing.
I know a lot of them. But some of them are just like I don't know.
I know
less
Pikachu.
Popular ones. Yeah, Pikachu's there.
You're dead.
I know a lot of
if
them.
you don't know who Pikachu
I
is.
do know.
You're dead before whatever 19 whatever.
Yeah, it's almost
Pokemon.
like not knowing what Mario is. Like at this point, Pikachu is super famous. But anyway, yeah. So this is the famed project. I'm working on Tentacool. He's only like halfway done.
Wait,
you can
what's
see,
the
like,
other guy's name?
This is Tentacruel.
Cruel?
Cruel, like he's cruel.
Okay, and then
evil.
Tentacool is
That's
a little more chill. Like he's like, I won't kill you.
Yeah, he has less tentacles and he's not as evil, I guess.
I'm not I don't have as many tentacles, tentacles, so I can't totally kill you. I'm gonna make you feel woozy.
Yeah. So that's the project. I can also do a little tour of my bag because we're talking about stash.
First of all, I have to tell you about this bag. Wait a second.
So,
like this was my first knitting bag. I
stole
almost
this
talked
from
about
her.
this on the last podcast. Just when I was, just talking about her and everything. This is my first.
Got a shoulder strap.
Oh, you took the knot out of the shoulder
I did.
strap.
I managed to get it out, and now it can actually like sit on my shoulder. Yeah.
I had it more like a shoulder bag. So I tied it in a knot, and it looks like, when you do that, it looks like you have a bird on your shoulder because the knot just like sticks up.
Oh yeah.
It's like ridiculous. So I bought this bag when I first started knitting, like in the late 90s. And I think it was the only bag at Michael's that was like of any size.
I like this bag.
And I, at the time I was like, it is really pretty. It's pretty like a tapestry thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was, at that time that was like very much like cool to me, the tapestry. Ooh, and it,
Yeah.
And so it was my knitting bag for a long time. It was my very, very first project bag. And then it just kind of got like pushed off into, I don't use this land, and she loved it.
I found it. I was like, can I steal
this?
this?
Can I have that? I was like,
my old one was just like a random bag that I had. Like, I think it might have been the bag that I got that night that you taught me cross stitching, or like it was a Sowsier bag. So like it was from the knitting store, and it was just getting to the point where not all of my stuff could fit in there anymore.
It was just an open bag, didn't have a
Yeah, like there were so many times where it would like fall over, and my like the Pokemon cross stitch almost like fell on the ground. I was like, no. Yeah, so that was scary. So I'm glad I have a bag that like has a seal on it or like a clasp on it, so it won't
just
fall
the one
out.
bag. She just has the one bag.
Yeah, this is all my cross stitching stuff
Bless
in
your heart.
one
Bless
bag.
your heart. It all fits in one bag. That's a start. That's awesome.
I can do like a what's in my bag
Yeah.
tour. So
Yeah,
I have a few of these like frames. This one's a square one that you got me, and I really like it.
I have another thing to tell you about about a thing that somebody I don't know uses, and I thought you should learn about.
Okay. But yeah, you gave me this square-shaped one, which gives you a little extra room, which I kind of like. And then otherwise, I have just circular ones. I can show you my floss stash. So I have my flosses sorted by color. I just like within the past year or so started using these like boxes because my grandma got me some. Before they were all, I think they were all just loose in the bag, which is kind of crazy to think about now. But like when I had to find a color, I would just have to pull it all out in like a disturbing like giant mass of floss and then like pick through it and find like the right color. So it's nice to have it all sorted now.
Does that pattern like tell you like color number 3 or 5?
I can show the pattern on my phone actually, because that's the other thing you were saying. You're surprised I can follow the pattern. This is what I'm working with. Oh geez, that's not gonna be good. That's not gonna show up well.
The dang ring light is either making me look like I have
Hello?
weird googly eyes like this.
Now it's focusing on you. But
Or-
oh, there we go. So it's just like it shows the colors, and it shows like all the different like they have symbols, and it's basically just pixelated. And I don't know. I've never struggled to like understand it because I guess I kind of look at it from a sense of like shapes. I look at the shapes, and then I just stitch the shapes. So like I'll see like this area, like that's just a 2x2 square, so I'll just stitch a 2x2 square. Or like I'll look at it row by row, like, oh geez, it's not.
No, but I mean like for the red, like do you just find a red that looks like it's a shade that matches what it's in the picture? Or
there are technically shades listed, but this is how many shades there are.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I'm not buying all of those specific shades for this project. Like that is
clearly it doesn't matter because it's looking awesome.
It doesn't. Like as I'll show you my stash, like most of this stuff that I have, I actually got as a gift from my dad or my grandma or something, and it was just like it was from like Amazon. It was just like a random bag of like 200 colors, and that's kind of what I've been working with. I also have this box is for ones that haven't been wound yet, so I also have this box.
There's your chaos.
This is the chaos box.
But the fact that like you just like found what you wanted out of that before, like that situation before.
It was just very random.
Remarkable.
It was, and I honestly, as like you can kind of tell if you look like from the bottom where I started, some of the color choices are a bit interesting. Like if you look at I think it's Ivysaur or Ivysaur, I think, or Bulbasaur. That's like those colors are not very accurate to what was on the pattern or like what the Pokemon actually looks like, and it's not focusing. But I always joke that some of them kind of look like they're like knockoffs that are like recolored for copyright because I just used like kind of poor color choices. But for the most part, it won't focus. It's not gonna.
Oh, I almost did.
For a second. There we go.
Yes. But he's cool.
He's cool, but like the colors, like the shading is weird. Like it's, I don't know.
It's like his, you know, what happens when like teams wear a weird color? It's just that.
He's just a little special.
He just showed up in his special event color.
Also, a lot of them have like they do have like repeating shades, especially a lot of the like reds. There's only a couple reds, and then they like reappear. Yeah. So I know I'm like, okay, well I'll just go back and look at what shade I use, and then I'll use the same shade.
It's 100% gorgeous. So
I'm really happy with it. It's a lot of fun. Like when I started it, I was like, I wasn't even sure if I would just do it. But it's nice to have a big project you can always keep coming back to. And I have like, gone off and done other projects obviously in the meantime. But like, it's nice to have like a big project that you can really like commit to, I guess.
That's a nice attitude. Because the rest of us are like, that project's in jail.
Well, I feel like if I started any other project that was like anywhere near as big as that, I might not come back to it for a while. And now that I'm so far, I like feel like it's almost like it's not sunk cost fallacy because I do enjoy like working on it, but like it's just like I've come so far, I might as well just keep going, I guess.
If you stop doing that, I think I would have to get involved.
I don't think I mean, again, I've come so far, I don't think I would ever stop at this point. This is just, I'm sorting through some garbage in here. I think the rest of what's in this bag is like old projects that I can kind of show. These are some more of my frames. This is gonna get kind of gross in here. I have kind of a
So you got a stash?
A little bit. This is
because we talked about how stash, when it sort of becomes like an obsession, or like, I didn't really couch it in those words, but I kind of indicated like bags and notions that I just kind of keep buying because I feel like I need more, and a lot of times that's because what I have is on projects that are still hanging out, and I don't have a size whatever needle because I have 3 of those, but they're all on projects that are in jail. And so I need another one, and then, so yeah, it's, the neck light is the essential.
This is my neck light. It's dead right now, so I haven't really used it, but it's nice when it's, like, dark.
Yes. Neck light.
I'll show some of my old projects. Here's a little Baby Yoda. I got really into Baby Yoda. I mean, I still really like Baby Yoda, but, like, there was a couple of years where I was kind of
So is he done? You used to go on, like,
this is done. This is my other thing. This is kind of my stash because the thing with me is that, like, I finish a lot of projects and then I just don't do anything with them. At least for the thing with, like, knitting is you can wear it when you're done.
Yeah, that's true.
But cross stitch, it's like you gotta frame it or, like, I don't know, put it on a pillow. Okay, so there's a little series I started where it's like these characters from Undertale, if you played Undertale. So that's Frisk from Undertale. And I did them because, again, it's focusing on my face.
Go away. Oh,
there we go. I need to cover on my face. Ah.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh.
So that's Frisk. These ones I did because they are like pixelized, like I said before, like video games. I like doing video game characters because they're like already pixelized, so you don't even have to like get a pattern. And then this one I used the wrong size Ada cloth, so I made Sans, but he's very small. And this one's got to focus because it's funny to see like, and he's also kind of crumpled, but see, he's much smaller than like Frisk. Which is not, like, canon accurate, I guess, but, yeah, he's just a little tiny Sans. Just, like, can't get a good... There we go.
Yay.
He's so tiny, it's kind of funny, but... What else do I have in here? I have some of these... Oh, I have another Baby Yoda.
Oh, a big Baby Yoda. Oh, he's cute. You have done a lot more than just...
Yeah,
Pokemon.
I've done a few like various projects in between.
It's good to see that you have things that you finish.
Well, the other thing I wanted to talk about too, which I guess I can talk about while I'm showing these, but oh, this one I didn't finish, but it's reversed, but it says I can't believe I'm still protesting this shit. But I didn't finish the flowers, so maybe I'll finish that one. But this is a pretty simple one. I've started like wanting to do more like cross stitch as gifts for people because then I can actually like do something with them. And like a cross stitch is so like, again, like you can make any picture like into cross stitch, so it's very like custom to like people's interests. This is Viva la Volva. I think this was like maybe either the first or second one I ever did. And this one kind of has a funny story if you'd allow me to tell it. I was stitching this cross stitch that says Viva la Volva probably when I was like 15 years old.
True story.
And I was cross stitching it like in public at a summer camp I was at. And like all the kids were watching me do it because like obviously it's like a cool thing to watch.
Children's Theater of Mass.
Yes. And they were asking me what Viva la Volva means, and I was like, well, maybe just ask your mom when you get home. Or like, I was like, I don't think I'm allowed to tell you what Viva la Volva means. But I think I probably said something like it has.
Where did you learn that?
It has something to do with private parts. Is all I said.
Oh
so
God.
That's the kind of funny story with that one.
That's funny. I don't remember you telling me about that.
I probably did it because I was like, maybe I shouldn't have been stitching that in front of like children. This one says a woman's place in the revolution. You can see a theme. We had like a little book of like feminists.
This is when you got when we first started.
I think this is the first one I made. I think, and then I did Viva la Volva. So this is the one I started on that first night. It says a woman's place is in the revolution. I have this one. I like this one. Science is not an alternative fact. I like the leaves on it. And I like the cursive. I wish it would focus. This is really hard. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Sorry.
I have... Oh, this one I did not last year for Christmas, but the year before. I did it like kind of on a whim.
You cross stitch way more than I realized you do.
You watched me do this because I was rushing to get it done before Christmas was over, and I think technically I finished it on New Year's.
This last year?
No, the year before.
Okay.
And we were at Grandma and Papa's house, and I was just like furiously trying to finish it before Christmas. It's the rant from
Christmas Vacation.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah. We need to frame that and make that a regular Christmas decoration.
I know, I do want to frame it.
Of course, you probably would put it in your apartment and not here.
Probably, but you can come over and see it.
Or you could always make me one.
I could.
Do it again.
Yeah, I could. I have the pattern, so. But, as you can see, I almost ran out of room.
You did.
The one thing.
You were playing Fabric Chicken.
And I also ran out of this shade of red and also this shade of green.
Well,
so
hey,
it's darker at the top, but it looks like it was on purpose, kind
It
of.
does, because you switched both colors
Yeah.
to a different shade.
So it's not bad.
It's a design choice.
Yeah, for rushing it at the last minute, like December 20th probably, it wasn't so bad.
It's okay because it's still in your bag, so it wasn't really imperative that you finish it.
Oh, here's probably my smallest frame. I think I did that
so cute.
for the Undertale ones. What else? So I do have a stash, you can see as I'm going through this.
You brought it.
Oh, wait, no, this was my first one. This was my very first one. It says, nevertheless, she persisted, because this isn't my cloth. This is like a pre-cut one. Yeah, this was definitely my first one, because it's a pretty easy, like, just letters and then some, like, dots in the middle. And then I did probably A Woman's Places in the Revolution.
So I love that, also that your cross-stitch career.
Oh, here's another Undertale one, sorry.
Oh.
This is Alphys.
Oh, he's cute.
Oh, but it's not focusing. This is also on the smaller cloth, but it was a bigger
Listen, camera, he has a face too. Look at his face.
That's not working. Please! It's not gonna work.
It's okay.
You'll have to trust that it's Alphys. But yeah.
Anyway, I love that your cross-stitching, the beginning of your cross-stitching kind of coincided with the beginning of your activism.
For a quarter.
A quarter?
But yes, yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
it was around middle school, around 2016, so, you know, I had to start becoming more aware of that stuff.
Yeah.
This is the final one, I think, in my bag, and it's covered in, like, lint.
So her stash involves a lot of FOs.
Yes. This is just a little cactus.
Aww.
It says stuck on you, and it has, like, junk all over it.
Stuck
on it, yeah. It's supposed to have a pom-pom attached to it.
So cute.
But I couldn't figure out, like, how to get the pom-pom to look good. I probably have it in my box somewhere, but, like, I don't know. It, like, didn't look fluffy enough, and it was just kind of, like, hanging limp. So I was like, I'm not gonna attach
It looked like a piece
them.
of a ball of string.
Yeah, just looked like a
Stuck to your
ball of,
project.
like, yarn. And I didn't want to put it on there. I just like it without it, but
It's very cute.
yeah.
Super duper cute.
So yeah, that's my stash of, like, projects. And like I said, I think my stash issue is that I don't have anything to do with these. Maybe I would sell them, but I'd have to, like, clean them up and probably frame them or glue them into a circular
I'm
frame.
impressed. I did not know you had that many little Finnish guys like that.
A lot of them are from a while ago. I've pretty much only been working on the Pokémon cross stitch. There's one I don't have that I do have hanging in my house. I made it I like Will Wood, and so I made a little Will Wood cross stitch for him to sign. It's just a little white rat, and it says "In Case I Make It," which is the name of one of his albums. Then I think that is all of my projects, unless there's one that I, like, gave as a gift, but I don't think that's true. But yeah, as I was saying, I guess before, I think it would be fun to start making them as gifts, because then I can do something with it, you know, and, like, customize it to someone, and then I know it will actually go to someone who will like it. I mean, I like my projects, but, like, I'm not gonna frame, like, 100 cross stitches in my house.
Yeah, I think it's popular. There's so many things like that, you know, like the activism ones that are, you know, that would cater to people that you know their interests and their likes and stuff, and you could really make those kind of gifts very personal for people.
That's what I would like to do. It is a little time consuming, so I need to, like, start it ahead of time, like if it was for a birthday or something, but it's something I would like to do. I'd also I have, like, a far off dream as far as, like, this project goes. One day when I finally finish this, if I'm, like, not 80 years old, I would like to make more in this style and maybe just, like, design them as my own, because, like, there's a lot of other like, I could do an Undertale one where it's, like, all the characters, and because they're all pixelized, I can just, like, copy and paste them, like, onto, like, figure out some way to copy and paste them onto like a pattern template or something. I could do it with like Undertale. I could do it with Professor Layton, which is one of my favorite video games because they have little like pixelized versions. I could do it with, there was one Stardew Valley would be fun. I could do like all the little Stardew Valley characters. And they probably wouldn't be as big as this, but like then I could frame them all next to each other and it would be like a bunch of different video games. So that's like a far off dream when I like finally finish this one. But
gotta get cranking.
Yeah. I think that's it. I could show what's in here. I have some like little trinkets in here.
Oh.
I have my little like
notions.
I have notions. I have a little. This is my clip where I put like all the colors for the one Pokemon that I'm working on. So these are the colors for Tentacruel, and honestly also Tentacool. They have a lot of the same colors. And then I have this little magnet that I usually have on there. It's a quote from Schitt's Creek, which is not gonna focus. I'm doing the makeup influencer thing. It's not gonna focus. It says e-glass and it has David's face on it. And then like your needle can just magnet to it. I'm sure you guys understand the concept, but like needle just like sticks onto it. I have this thing which you got me recently. It just holds your needles and like there's different like layers so you can hold like a lot of needles in here.
And just who doesn't like the woodcut?
Yeah, the woodcut is cool.
Tools for all of the fiber things.
It's
right?
It's a little moon
like
with
the
some
Katrinkle
feathers.
stuff and just like all of the really fun.
And then this is like felt that you just like stab the needles through and then it just holds the needles, so it's kind of nice. Cool. What other stuff do I have? I have this cool. This has a cool story. So this is a little thread organizer.
This was a cool situation. This was one of the times. Yeah, go ahead and tell the story.
Yeah, we were
at. Let you talk because this was very cool.
We were at a knitting cafe called the Sow's Ear. Like just hanging out. I was stitching and she was knitting and we were just hanging out. And some like lady comes up to me with this like little wooden thing. And she gives it to me, and she's just like, well, this is a thread organizer. Like, my husband made it because he, like, does wood cutting. And I was like, that's so cool. And then she, like, starts to walk away, and I was like, wait, are you, like, giving it to me? And she's like, yeah, you can just have it. And I was like, oh, my gosh, that's very nice.
And she told you what it did, right?
She told me it was a thread organizer, but she didn't really tell me how it worked. So I did have to, like, do a bit of Googling, but I think I'm using it correctly.
I think you are, yeah.
Random lady from Southie, if you're watching this, and I'm not using it right, you just leave a comment, I guess. But yeah, it's like
that
I
would
kind of
be so weird if she was like ended up watching this.
Yeah, what
like,
are the odds?
That's totally. I gave you that, and yeah, that's right.
You never
it reminds
know.
me of. It looks like something like one of those things at Ren. Or maybe it's just like when they're at Ren Fair and they have all the little like they have the thing where they're walking around with like the little crowns with the flower crowns with the ribbons hanging down with around like the thing. That reminds me of that.
Yeah. I just like tie. I guess I just tie it on there. I don't know if I'm using it right, but
around, yeah.
It helps me like keep the threads organized. Cause again, I could also show my like bowl of loose thread. Cause I keep.
You have also additionally a ball of loose thread.
Yeah, cause I haven't put it all on the organizer yet.
I can't imagine if I was like.
Before I had the thread organizer, this was my thread organization technique. It's all just in like a giant ball. I could play hacky sack with this.
Oh, it's a floss board. Oh, now it's not a board anymore.
Yeah. So one day I'll hopefully sort this all onto the thread organizer, but yeah, this is not the most productive.
It looks like when I wind yarn cakes and I like.
It's really it's really intimidating to look at. I had something else to say about it and I forgot, but yeah.
This is like if you were punished, but you could take a craft and they'd be like, but you have to use this thread like this. And
you can only be a cross stitcher, but you have to
like cross stitching and
cross stitch with.
You can have your cross stitch.
This is the thread you have
get
to
your
use.
thread.
Yeah. So I'm glad that random lady gave me that because it actually has helped a lot. I think that's all my little.
She didn't give me anything. because I was just knitting. She was knitting on that Pokemon thing.
It's not as cool
I
as
was like,
Pokemon, I guess.
Geez, sir, I'm knitting though.
Oh, here's my failed pom-pom.
Oh, that was supposed to go on the cactus?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it without that.
It's not. It doesn't look very good. And then the rest of this is just like
Seems
more.
like it should be smaller. It's like the size of the whole cactus.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting choice. I think that's all my notions, though.
That's cool. You got a decent stash of tools.
So that's my stash. I don't think it compares to yours at all.
I was saying when we were talking about this before, like, I can't imagine a cross stitcher having. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. You got a lot of floss. That's good. But having a room like in there, which one day we'll do a tour, and it was all floss. I think that's a big. That would be a bigger problem. That would be.
I don't even know why you would need that much floss.
That would be called a store. That would be called like Michael's.
Right, like the thing.
That would be called the back room.
Is
that would be called in the back. Michael's. Do you have any more of this color in the back?
Like
check.
One of these, you have to be like
Can you?
filling a lot of stuff with purple to even use one of these.
Yeah.
So like
So you've got a good stash there. That's
like
I think you're relatively equivalent because of, you know.
And yeah, if you count like colors and stuff, probably
And the amount of projects probably that you could do out of that.
True.
You may have reached Sable with your colors. I don't. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, probably. I haven't had to really like. I've only had to buy like one specific color that I didn't have. It was like the bright blue color. I think it was actually this color that is Squirtle's color. Like he's this very like bright turquoise.
Bright blue.
And that was the only color that I didn't have because there wasn't like another blue I had that was bright enough. And Squirtle's pretty iconic for being like just a bright blue little guy. So otherwise, I'm pretty much set for colors, so I may be at Sable territory, like you said.
Could be.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, honestly, that project might be Sable.
It could take but the rest of my life to finish that.
Yeah, you'd be like the coolest 95-year-old.
I think if I finish like 2 more rows
your
of
great-grandkids
Pokemon,
would be like, Grandma's so cool.
I think if I finish like 2 more rows of Pokemon, I should be halfway done. I think.
And I feel like the last 2 rows that you finished.
Yeah, because like if I fold it in half, like I'm kind of almost there. Like maybe after I finish this row, I'll be almost halfway.
You need to do some big, like make them bigger.
But it also like slopes downwards. Yeah, my dad asked me a couple times, like, do they get bigger as it goes up? And I was like, nope. Nope. It's Pokemon all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I'll show it again. People really like to
Glory of Pokemon.
Look at it. Yeah. So yeah, that's my cross stitching stash.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I have a question. Thank you for showing us all of that and for showcasing the Pokemon. I told you it was pretty awesome. One thing that I had an idea given to me by a knitting and spinning pal last week, and so I thought I would kind of put it into the content for the episode today, and that is kind of how does our stash develop? Like what. And I guess I have kind of talked a little bit about last week, maybe it was touched on a little bit, both episodes. The COVID for me was a big, the time when mine kind of exploded, and I was just kind of getting into, you know, my yarn snob phase. And so it was an even bigger deal because I started to accumulate, not just, you know, big box inexpensive yarn, but spending a lot of dispensable income on yarn and stuff. And then the fiber thing came along when I started spinning. So, but what, you know, what kind of assists our stash getting so big? And I think for me, one thing that there's probably several things that I can think of outside of COVID, because COVID was kind of its own thing where, you know, we weren't spending a lot of dispensable income because we weren't doing anything. We weren't going places. We weren't doing things. We weren't, you know, except for maybe those of us who were finding things and, you know, at home to do, you know, different crafts and stuff. And that's, you know, that's why I started to accumulate so many more projects with yarn, kits, things like that, because I was knitting all the time when I wasn't working. And, you know, these guys were pretty much, they were raising themselves, running around feral inside the house. No, not really. I mean, I did a lot, but you guys were doing your own thing too. But that was a big time period when there wasn't a lot of other things going on, and so that was something that was a focus in my for me extracurricularly, because I wasn't doing anything outside the home. So that was an opportunity, but also, like, you know, Instagram is a big enabler for me, because I follow a lot of knitting content, designers and other people who knit and stuff, and so there's a lot of, you know, and then that of course affects the algorithm where we get a lot of projects like we do coming across the screen, and it's like, oh, it's either the new hot thing that everybody's knitting, like I kind of mentioned pressed flowers last time, and then so like when I, for example, if anybody has knit the Killer Queen cowl, when I first saw that, first of all, the license plate on my car says Killer Queen. So I, you know, we're big Queen fans. That's probably my favorite song. So when I saw that cowl, I was like, oh my gosh. And so first of all, it was called the Killer Queen cowl. Second of all, it was a super cool pattern. And so I was immediately like, oh, I have to make that. And so the very next, I think, you know, it's usually what happens is I see these posts happen, like, I wonder if the algorithm is that smart, because I feel like it came out on, like, I first saw like on a Monday or a Tuesday, and my typical knit night is Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. So what happens is I'll see something on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll be like, oh my god, I have to make it. Or Andrea Mowry she's infamous for releasing her patterns on Tuesdays, and then Wednesday night I'll be at Spry for knit night, and I'm just like, it's been on my mind for 24 hours or 48 hours, and I'm like, no, I have to get the yarn. I could be in the middle of 3 projects, but now I have to get the yarn for this new hot project that I see on Instagram. And I bought yarn to make 2 of them, and ask me how many of them I've made. Ask me how many of those I've cast on. I have not cast it on yet.
I won't ask.
I think that's happened for a couple different projects. So for me, it's like I'll see projects and I can't just make a list. You said yesterday we were talking, you said you make a list of projects that you like.
Not really a list. I just have like a couple ideas in my head of like, okay, so on that vein of like social media, I knew you had like kind of gotten into like the internet like kind of community of like knitters, so I was like, well, I wonder if there's something like that for cross stitch, because I feel like I see more knitters like in the world, both on the internet and in real life, but maybe it's because my mom is a knitter, it could be that, but
could be that I'm taking you to those types of places.
Well,
and you're
could
seeing
be,
people, but yeah.
But even there, I don't really see a lot of cross stitchers or like a community of them, and there's not like cross stitching stores. That would just be like craft stores, you know. So like, I started joining some like groups. Like I joined like a couple groups on Facebook for like cross stitch, just to like see, I don't know, maybe see if there is like a community. And I think there is. I don't know if it's as like, I don't know the right word, like, I guess not as big or like as active as the knitting community online, but you know, there is a community, and I might just need to look elsewhere other than Facebook too. Like, I haven't really looked on Instagram or anything like that. But the thing is, like, since joining that stuff, I see like people like posting their projects. I'm like, oh, I really want to do that. Like last night I saw a Stardew Valley one, which is what made me think of like doing a Stardew Valley like with the characters, but I saw this really cool like set of 4 different cross stitch that are like each of the seasons in Stardew Valley, and they're really pretty, and I was like, dang it, I want to do that. But like, they were big enough where I was like, if I were to do like all 4 of them, that would also be a big thing, and like, again, like if I were to start like a big project in the midst of the Pokemon thing, I don't know. I might have to take a big hiatus, which I don't know if I want to do that. So like for me, I think
we would understand.
I have a lot of ideas of projects I want to do, whether it's like ones that I like have in my head that I would have to make the project or like the pattern or like whatever, or ones that I literally have like seen on like Etsy or Facebook or something that I would like want to buy and then make. And I probably should start like an official list because there's no way I can remember all that stuff that like I see, but
well, that would be good because one of the things that would help with that problem that some of us have, at least I know that I have, is that those patterns are published. And for those of us who knit or crochet, there's a little site called Ravelry, and they're gonna be there.
I wish there was a Ravelry for cross stitch. I don't know if there is. If there is, I haven't found it, and if you know of one, like comment it, because I think it would be cool to be able, because Ravelry you can also like document like your project. Like I think that would be really cool to do, to make an account. Is Ravelry just for knitting, or is it like
knitting and crochet and
okay?
I don't know if there's.
If I did cross stitch on there, would I be like I be like a weird outsider?
Yeah, I don't think it.
Like,
I don't think there's anything.
Cross stitcher on Ravelry.
What is this doing here? This is riffraff.
Get her off the website.
Well, I mean, there's also like that could be, similarly to how there's I think it'd be the like I said, I haven't looked to see if there's anything in there about weaving patterns, but or weaving projects, but certainly crochet. So that something like that would be for people who also needlepoint, embroider, all that kind of very similar stuff. I mean, it would be interesting if there was something like that out there. I just don't know. I just don't. Yeah. I don't hang with a lot of cross stitchers. I know a few.
There probably is, like in the world of the internet, there probably is something like that. I just have yet to discover it, so I will keep an eye out for it, I guess. But also, I do want to say for any listeners, embroidery and cross stitch are different because sometimes people will call my project embroidery.
Oh, really?
It's not embroidery.
And needlepoint's different.
Yeah, I'm not sure the difference between needlepoint and embroidery.
I don't either, but I know they're not the same as cross
stitch. It is different. They're definitely not the same. So embroidery, in case you don't know, is like there's no. Okay, I'll show you the cloth I use because it'll probably make more sense. But like, but it's not gonna focus. But as like you could see when I was showing it before, like it's a series of like squares, and there's like little holes. So it's all like they're all like exactly measured out like little squares. And embroidery usually is just like cloth. Like it's not. Yeah. You could do whatever you want.
Well, there's different little like patterns. It's almost like brush stroke, different,
yeah, and also like different like knots and stuff. Like you can make little like knots that are like. I think that's cool. I would be interested to try it.
I have a cool book that I wanted to get into it because of course there's one that's got like I forget what it is. It's like magical embroidery or something like that, and it's like it's like. If I was going to buy an embroidery book, it would be like that.
Okay,
so I'll find it. It's probably over there somewhere. But
I tried it once. There was like someone gave me a kit for it, and it was pretty fun. I didn't like it as much as cross stitching. I think just because something about like the exactness of the squares is what I like, and like embroidery, it almost feels like I'm off a leash. Like I just like I'm like in a field, and like I could go in any direction. I'm like, where am I? But it could be cool to learn. Embroidery, you can be a lot more like almost creative with it. Not that you can't be creative with cross stitch, but like you can truly just like go wherever you want, do whatever.
See, with
you want.
your background in art though, and drawing and that kind of thing, it seems like that would be a good outlet.
I know, but I don't know. I think the part that I like about cross stitch is that it's very much like I can just do it without thinking about it. I guess very hard, which is what I like about it.
Stockinette stitch, you could probably just go to the movies and not even do.
Oh yeah.
Not even have light.
That's
just knit.
A knitting thing.
Knit.
Oh, no purl.
No purl.
Oh, okay.
No purl, no cabling.
Yeah, something like that.
You can do different things just with stockinette. Like a lot. I mean, like color work is going to mostly be like if it's stranded color work. It's all stockinette. and then you have to be paying attention to what you're doing. But just like
Oh yeah.
just like all you're doing is knitting.
I like that, like color work stuff for knitting. I think if I was
See,
to
this
learn
is what
it,
I need
that's
to do. Oh, you know what? Oh, okay. After we're done here, I'm gonna show you something, and that might trip your trigger.
She's trying to convert me.
In terms of I think that, and this is the idea that kind of my friend Callie was talking about with like FOMO. FOMO is I feel like if you are what's the word I'm looking for? Sensitive to FOMO. If you're sensitive is not quite the right word.
Yeah, I know what you're
if
thinking.
You're like.
Oh jeez.
Subject to FOMO? Is that the no?
Yeah,
like
I know what you.
Susceptible.
Yeah,
Susceptible to FOMO.
Yeah.
You can be susceptible to FOMO if you have an interest in if it's anything. Like I feel like I am susceptible to FOMO, like in general.
Me as well.
But maybe never so much as for the fiber situation, fiber and yarn, right? And that also kind of plays into the whole. The words get sucked out. They get sucked out. The vices we were talking about. Yeah. Like there's certain. Honestly, I've started to like do the flinching thing when Andrea Mowry says she's got a new pattern coming out, because I'm just like, no, please, I'm gonna have to buy more yarn again. And there's been a few. I'm not a big cardigan knitter. I have a cardigan that's supposed to be my first steeking project. I knit it 2 years ago. I have to finish the second button band, the whole side, and then steek it, and that's where I'm stuck on. And it's otherwise completely finished. I just have to, and I think I still have like this brain lock on. Oh my god, I have to steek it, even though I was ready to go steeking, and I should not be afraid. I know I have a whole community of people that can hold my hand through a steeking project, but I don't think I haven't done any other cardigans, and I have a couple that I want to do, and I have at least one, well, I have several actually that I have yarn for, but so she's done a few cardigans recently that I've thought about, but I didn't like pull the trigger and get the yarn, although I did spend some time looking, and then I was like, well, I've got this other stuff. I can hold off on a cardigan, but she throws a shawl out there. It's all over, because I'm like, well, I could do that, or a cowl. So she just did her Nightlights shawl just came out last week, and of course I bought the yarn for it right away.
What's like the difference between a shawl and a cardigan? Because I might call
a shawl and a what?
Thing.
A cardigan?
Yeah.
Oh, a cardigan is just like a button-up sweater.
Oh, but the shawl goes over the shoulders.
Oh, a shawl is just a shawl, just like a shape that goes over your shoulders, or you can wrap it around your neck. Yeah.
That might have just been a misunderstanding. Okay. I don't know if that's like.
And
I don't know.
A
I feel like
would be just like it fits over your head, and it's like a tube, but that has some kind of shape to it.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
You could also take a shawl and like wrap it around enough times, and it just like sits there like a cowl. But anyway.
And a shawl wouldn't have like sleeves, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like that's a problem for me, that when she has, and it used to be Stephen West too, and I don't know why I haven't been as honest. Thank goodness, though. If I was like, that was happening for both of them for me still, I would probably, that would be really bad, because it's several of her releases. Most recently, I've gone ahead and jumped on, and so yeah, I've got more yarn coming, for that, and recently as last week on Sunday when we had spinning group, everybody was talking about Inglenook fibers, and I didn't think that I had ordered anything from Inglenook. I was saying at spinning last week that I was an Inglenook virgin, and so now it seemed like as good a time as any, because they were just doing a new release ahead of Tour de Fleece, and so they were talking about 12 pages of new colorways that they were going to be releasing the next day on Monday, and how you got to get on there for Inglenook. You got to be like on your phone ready to go, have your stuff picked, like strategically picked out, know what page on the website it's page 8 of 12 that this particular, so you can click on that and go. So I was like, wow, this must be pretty, and I've seen other, like I mean, I've seen like colorways go fast when Spin Cycle releases when they do a shop update on Thursdays. So I know things get, you know, when you get to see it ahead of time. I was talking about Fat Squirrel, and after I filmed the last episode, I went downstairs and my bags had actually come in, the 2 that I just got. So I would have shown them on the last episode. I do really like them a lot. They're really pretty. But yeah, like even stuff like that, I've had stuff pull out of my shopping cart before when I've tried to order those bags. So like people who are, you know, fans of different things like that, like it's cutthroat. It's super cutthroat. And so people were talking at Spinning last week about how, you know, strategies for getting stuff into your shopping cart and successfully buying them. I'm like, wow, I better make sure. And I had a class that the release time at 5 o'clock in the evening last Monday was like, right in smack in the middle of this class. And so I had to tell my instructor when I got there, like, at 5 o'clock I have to get on my phone and place an order. I'm really sorry. And I like actually had a list with me, like on a big Post-it list, like this thing, like one of like this with like the page number, the colorway that I wanted and how many, and then like my choices. Like I had 5 different choices. So if I didn't get my first choice, and I was like, it's like booking advanced dining reservations at Disney, like the day that you can first do that for your trip.
See, this makes me also think that like the knitting community is bigger than the cross stitching community. 'Cause I feel like you would never have to wait for like a floss color or like a cross stitch pattern.
See, yeah.
I think that
y'all are low key over
knitting,
the cross stitch community. You're
we're
just like sitting
chill
back. I'm just gonna be cross stitching while you guys are all trying to kill each other. Like, you know, like a bunch of brides lining up at the discount dress event at David's or whatever. Not David's, but anyway, yeah, so last Monday my timer went off and I was like, hang on, I'm gonna do this. And I had my very first choice. I'm sick about it because it was I was so excited about this first choice, and even my second choice was like, I was gonna spin for a Find Your Fade. Now I have probably 3 Find Your Fades in my whips, my UFOs in the closet over there. I don't think I haven't ever finished a Find Your Fade shawl, but I've started several of them. But I was gonna spin for one because there was this purple and then another purple and then a pinky purple, and it was gonna be gorgeous. So that was my number 2, and I had one of the 3 of those colors were ripped out and both of the yarns for my 2 or 3 yarns. I think I was gonna do a combo spin with another. Those got like ripped out of my bag. Actually, it was another one I was gonna do a 3 color, like probably for like a shift cowl. And 2 of those 3, the 2 of the best of the 3 colors out of that one ripped out of my shopping cart. So I got what I wanted for my 3rd choice. I had to reconfigure another thing. I got some stuff. Anyway, I went to spinning on Sunday last week, not thinking that because I just talked about in like at least the first episode, if not the second episode, about the damage I've recently done with Three Waters Farm buying a bunch of fiber. I just don't need any more fiber. But everybody was like, Inglenook, and I was like, oh, I should probably, you know, just stop being an Inglenook virgin and just make my first purchase of Inglenook and call it it's my project for Tour de Fleece. I don't need a thing of yarn thing of fiber for Tour de Fleece, but whatever. Like, it was FOMO. It was FOMO. So, and then I've experienced my first like race to the shopping cart to the make your purchase, click the button for Inglenook, and it was brutal. It was totally brutal to like not get my first choice. Just broke my heart because it was so pretty. Oh my gosh. And it wasn't stuff I have either. That was the other thing. Like, I was trying to pick colors that I know I don't really have. So yeah, like that's the stuff that drives your stash up, is just like this powerful FOMO. First of all, like that's a situation where if you want it, you gotta get it, and you gotta be strategic. And I feel like somebody mentioned a strategy on Sunday, like, should I put stuff in my cart, like have a project in mind, put it in a cart, buy it, go back, see if the next one's still available, put it in your cart, buy it. Because what they'll do when they did do this is a couple days later I got this message from Inglenook that they were crediting me back like $7.50 or something like that for shipping because they consolidated everything. So I ended up not having to pay shipping on 2 or 3 separate orders. Or it was 2 orders because I ordered 1 order. It was 2 orders. The big order, and then I decided that there was another colorway that would go with that, the Find Your Fade. I hope it does when I get it, because that one deep purple wasn't like got pulled out of my cart. So yeah, they did. They consolidated, which is super cool of them. But yeah, I think next time if I would, I would tier my choices, and then if there was one that was like, if I only got one, it's gonna be this one. Put it in the cart and buy it, because by the time I went to put my second choice in the cart, what happened was that really dark purple that I really wanted, it was there, and I clicked add to cart, and as soon as I clicked add to cart, it said sold out.
Oh wow.
Because I mean, this was a gorgeous purple. And I think what happened was for like 5 or 10 seconds, I was just like it threw me off my game. And in that 10 seconds, my first choice got pulled out of my cart.
Oh, man.
I feel like if it's in your shopping cart,
yeah,
it's in your shopping cart, and you should have like at least 5 minutes. I'm talking about minutes. Like under 5 minutes.
So crazy.
All of this took me under 5 minutes to make the purchase and close that transaction.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah, and then there were people on the Discord for our group after that, like, oh, I got this, and oh my gosh, and I was like, that is cutthroat. That is some cutthroat. And a couple people were like, yeah, that I cannot deal with that pressure, like that FOMO. I have to stay away from it. And I was like, that's pretty smart.
You just have to hope you're like also in front of your phone at the right time, because like what if you're like working
then
or something?
You're
like
screwed. You have to set timers.
Right, like you have to be there.
When we were driving home from Christmas and I stopped because I was like, I have to order yarn, because that was Spin Cycle, and that was, did I talk about this in the first episode with the coffee colors of, I can't remember if I talked about it in the first episode or not. Anyway, it was the colorway from Spin Cycle that got me started on the Spin Cycle path. And that's how I found out they take Shop Pay, and then it was all over with. Since January, I've just like, suddenly I have a bunch of Spin Cycle because I'm a crazy person. But yeah, it takes like one thing, and then you're setting timers on your phone. You're setting alarms so that you can be ready like 5 minutes ahead of time and get on a site. Because the last time that colorway became available, it went, like they put it up on Instagram, and I was like drooling over this colorway. And like I couldn't get it right away, and then they finally brought it back, and that's when that's why we pulled over on our drive back from Michigan.
I remember that. Yeah,
I was like, kids, I gotta pull over, I have to order some yarn. So yeah, those kinds of things, and like pictures on Instagram. But the pictures on Instagram, so it's one thing to like have a situation with Engelmuck where you're hearing people say like you have to have a strategy, to get what you want, because it's going to go really fast and it's going to go within minutes. That's one thing. So if you really have to buy something for whatever reason, you have a project in mind and you see something you want and you know it's going to go hot, or whatever first world problem you have where you have to get that thing, but patterns aren't gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, no, they're always there.
I gotta start making a list, like when I really have to make that thing, it'll be there, and then I get the yarn, or then I shop my stash. That's what this is all about. So yeah, so those are my things. Like Instagram's a big one. Sometimes my friends, like when we're at fiber shows and stuff, Sheep and Wool, Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, or when the knitting, when we were doing the knitting with the Madison Knitters Guild, I've had friends enable me, and so I got to be real good at it. So I've started enabling other people because I'm like,
you're continuing the cycle.
Yeah, like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If last time we went someplace, you enabled me, and guess what? I really think that's your color. Yeah, so, yes, that'd be perfect for what you're gonna do.
I do love enabling
100%.
Stuff.
I have proudly enabled people recently. I've been like,
I forget there was something this week we were talking about with my friends, or like I was sitting between two of my friends, and one of them just like saw something on their phone and was like, "Oh, look at this cute thing," and the other one was like, "You should buy it." It was just like
That's hardcore.
Really, like it was really funny.
You should buy.
You should buy it. Like she was like, "Oh, that'd be cute.
You should buy that.
I'd like to wear that," and then they're like, "You should buy it."
You totally should buy it.
You should buy it then. It was pretty funny.
And then when you look at your friend like,
no, I thought it was.
okay.
I may have like I don't know. I don't remember what I said, but I might have just joined in. I was like, "Yeah, you should buy it. You should buy it."
You should buy that. And your eyes get like the Jungle Book snake.
Oh yeah.
You should buy that.
Hypnotizing them. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna name drop right now because why not? When I was at the fly-in, I feel like I'm just gonna be bringing up the fly-in every once in a while because it was a cool thing, and yeah, it was the place where my fiber stash went from more than I need to like sable. I actually got to hang out quite a bit with Jillian Moreno. For those of you who know Jillian Moreno, is an amazing spinner and spinning teacher and kind of a celeb in this world. And she actually rode shotgun a couple times in my car. We all went up to dinner, a few of us, yes.
Wow.
I took a couple of her classes. She's wonderful. I love you, Jillian. She's an enabler. Damn. Damn. I went back into that vendor hall on the Sunday. I wasn't going to buy anything. I think I went back in a second time, actually, because she was talking about something or other. And yeah, a few of those purchases were because she's also a very good enabler. Yeah, so that's my knitting celebrity name dropping enabler story. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and I don't think I've knit with any of that stuff that she enabled me to buy yet. Not quite yet. I will. We'll get there.
Have you met all of your like knitting, like the people that you follow, like because you've met Stephen West?
I met Stephen West. I've met Andrea Mowry.
Mowry.
Yeah. I met Max and I'm sorry, Max's partner. I can't. I'm picturing your gorgeous face and I can't remember. I don't
know.
I've met them.
Okay.
Briefly, I got my picture with them at Rhinebeck last year, and I was just like, they were there.
Wow.
Amy from La Bien Aimée, I briefly met her. Got a picture with her. I felt like I was kind of intruding on her space. She looked like she was like had been talking to so many people, and I was waiting for the crowd to disperse, and I was like, I felt bad because she just kind of looked like she needed to get the hell out of there for a while, and it was hot, and I was like, can I just get a picture with you really quick? She was very sweet about it. She's able to smile, but I kind of felt like, oh gosh, that kind of felt like, okay, one more, bigger.
Yeah.
But she was very nice about that. Pretty much, yeah. And then Patty Lyons is going to be a speaker. Her books are right over there. She's the first speaker in September for Madison Knitters Guild, so that's kind of exciting. That's very exciting, actually. But yeah, so most of them. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I haven't driven Stephen West or Andrea Mowry around in my car and dinner with them a few times and hung out for a weekend, but I would do that.
Right.
Totally do that. And she lives up in like the Petoskey area now or something like that. She lives up near Boyne City somewhere.
Oh, wow.
I don't know exactly where, but I know her mom, lives up in that area, and they just moved back up there. So
that's pretty cool.
Guess we gotta go hang out out there a little bit more sometime.
But Stephen West is in like Europe,
He's in
right?
Amsterdam. Yeah. Yeah, someday.
I'd love to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Well, this has been another super long edition. Look, we beat our first one by over a minute.
Wow.
Minute 8 and change, and we're going to go to a minute 9. So we should wrap this up a little bit. But it's been fun seeing all of your stuff. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
And chatting and giving your perspective on your stash. And you didn't talk about what's your biggest FOMO? What do you have FOMO the strongest for? And it doesn't have to be a craft. But in terms of just FOMO, what is the FOMO that hits you the hardest?
Yeah, well, you were talking about it. I think the one I could most relate to was like probably concerts, because I have like had a couple concerts where like an artist I really like is going on tour, like I just don't have enough money, or like I have enough money but I'm like, should I? Because like I don't know if I'll be able to be out of town at the time they're touring. And then like I see all the pictures from when they're touring, I'm like, I wish I had done it. But maybe one day when I have like a grown-up job, that'll be a little easier.
It will be. It'll be easy if it's just you.
Right, yeah. With,
These days, like we were talking about, like
concert ticket, yeah.
my generation, we grew up going to concerts, and you know, for the at least the earliest part of that, like concert tickets were like, I remember concert tickets being $13.50.
Wow.
You can't get a pop at a concert of this, honestly, for $13.50.
No.
Or maybe for $13.50 you can get a pop.
Right, yeah, or like food of any kind, yeah. Like it's
yeah, you get a pop and some kind of food. You're
it's
paying
like
$35.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah, seriously.
So I saw in 1987, I think was the first time I saw Duran Duran in the front row.
Yeah.
Because we had scalper tickets. $75 for a scalper ticket that got us to the front row center.
That's like not even the nosebleeds.
And that was Duran Duran in 1987.
Nosebleeds are more than that now. Like back row is like $150.
I spent $75 for 2 adult beverages at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh.
This is how times have changed. So kids not being able to go to concerts these days because their parents, you know, like buying one concert ticket is like half of a mortgage payment, but taking all of the children to a concert.
Right. Also, yeah, it was like
it's sad. It's very sad.
When I was at Willwood in Chicago this couple weeks ago, and I bought like waters for all my friends, and it was like $30, $25. It was like four waters.
Water
was like $30, like $24, something like that. I was like, what kind of world are we living in?
Yeah.
But yeah.
On that note,
yeah,
we're gonna end this episode. Yeah. Thanks again for being here, my child. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.